VR Fitness Summit 11 Table Tennis Finals brought to you by VAL, the Virtual Athletics League. I am your host, Collateral, and I am joined with co-host and participant in this tournament, Alex TT Barcelona.
Hi. Yeah. So
we're going to be the casting on this show here. We're going to show the semifinal 1, semifinal 2, third and fourth place match, and grand finals. We'll kind of cast over the gameplay, what's going on. So just like that, we're jumping right into it, into semifinal number 1, which is Lambo versus Adrich.
Yeah, always a very strong game, I expect. It's like, I think there's only top 5 players left at this point.
Right.
And these two guys, like Lambo is a real player. He plays, he even played against Waldner in the past. Not that he won, but he played them, which is already very cool. And Adrich actually is a tennis player, so which in real life would be a problem, but in VR he seems to hold his own really well.
He's been doing pretty well. Yeah, he's up 4-2 right now.
Pretty well. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, honestly, he's been in the first place for months as well. The same as Lambo. For a while, he was in first place for quite a while.
Right. Now, when someone watches ping pong in real life compared to VR ping pong, you see a lot of the players playing, 3-4 feet off the table and slamming, horizontally and playing the ball super, super fast. Watching this so far off the rip right here, it doesn't look like it's being played that way. Is there a reason why? I mean, you can see that the hits are coming in pretty fast here, but is there a vast difference?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Basically, it depends on the space you have. Most people are just playing in their homes, and they don't have a lot of space. And these two players, actually, they both play with cabled headsets.
Okay.
So they have to take care of the cable as well. I mean, there's cable management stuff, but still, I play on the Quest, have no cable to worry about, but still, I don't move as fast because I know you're still kind of blind,
Right.
But you get used to it.
We see here Adrich does take set number 1 down in match number 1. He was up 9-2 and did have a lot of faults there and mistakes that brought actually Lambo back to make it 9-8, but that Adrich did close that out. In your playing experience with these players and stuff, does Adrich or Lambo, do they have anything that's like super strong in their arsenal? Do they have like a good serve, a good backhand? What do you know from your experience playing with them? Anything of note?
Honestly, I think Lambo is quite a complete player. Like also because he plays in real life, so he's everything under control. He has good serves, good forehand, and very strong backhand. And Adrich is just like, sometimes I don't understand what he's doing because he doesn't play like a real player.
Right.
But he plays very much through the ball. He has a very simple serve, which is, I guess, his weakest point.
Right.
You'll see it be attacked by Lambo a lot, I think. But otherwise, like he can be really fast over the table. Like, it's quite incredible.
So now watching Lambo do his serves here, I think it's a serve here next point here as we're all tied up 7-7 here in set number 2 as Lambo tries to smack it in. Actually, one more point here before Lambo's serve. Watch Lambo's serve here. What is he? He has a lot of different spins. I see he's done a backhand serve, he's done a forehand serve. Are there any technical names for those kind of serves, or that just like, so you can see right there, he does like that little swipe with the backhand there.
And the backhand, yeah. Well, the backhand is almost always like that because it's the most natural movement to do from the backhand.
Right.
In the forehand, you have you have a pendulum serve, reverse pendulum serve, all that stuff. I don't think he's doing a reverse. He's almost always just doing pendulum, which is also the most natural. Honestly, probably that's also because it's a good simulation 11, but it's going to be better still. And at the moment, like, you don't notice all the variations in spin that Lambo is putting.
Right.
That's also why Adrich can be that high. I mean, I would really like to see him play in real life as well, but he's already told me that it's not the same. But it's very interesting to see how a player like Lambo and myself as well, we have a lot of real life experience, how we just rise to the top just on real life experience.
Now, how if you would give it, let's say for example, real life table tennis and ping pong is on a scale of 1 to 100. Real life is 100. What would you give 11 table tennis as being closely comparable to real life? Obviously, without like the cable management, stuff like that. Like, what would you give it?
Oh, well, potentially it can be 95.
95.
I think now it really depends on what you want to do. So now
Right.
it could be 80. I think there's just a couple of things missing for like an easier transfer of skill. But I've been using it for 2-3 years before lockdown.
Right.
I was mixing it without issues, but after 3 months of lockdown, I came back and I have a bit of trouble adjusting to the more dynamic range in real life. You know, there's
Right.
more difference in speed and spin, but it's something that can be fixed. You know, it's just adjusting the settings.
Right. Right. We see
I mean,
here,
not my settings, the options and
right,
settings. I mean.
right. So we see here, Adrich jumps up 10-6 actually. He has a fault there, goes 10-7. This is set number 3 and match number 1. Adrich does take it down. It's a nice, pretty big forehand slam there and takes it down. So Adrich is now up 1-0. And just like that, we're jumping right back into match number 2 here. And this is a best of 5 of matches. Adrich up 2-0 here. We got Lambo's serve. He looks like he shakes it off and kind of relaxes for a second. So in a situation like this, go ahead.
Yeah, these games are really fast in VR.
Yes.
Like when I played Pixel Fire 2 weeks ago in another final, he asked me to take a minute between each match, and it makes a lot of sense because I mean in real life you just go get the ball. You have the rhythm is totally different, and here you just keep going. It's very
how much does that throw you off? You feel like here?
You get used to it though.
You get used to it? Okay.
You get used to it, but you have to, like, even in real life, sometimes you have to think about taking your time. Just like you said, Lambo doing, you saw him do it. It's important sometimes because otherwise you just go into the other person's rhythm and set is gone before you know it.
Right.
You know?
Right. So in a situation like this, when you're down now already 1-0, as you as a player, what are you thinking going into match number 2? Is your mentality anything different from match number 1, or are you just keeping your same rhythm and you're like, let's take a deep breath, let's focus? What goes through your head here?
Well, the focus thing is there for sure, and lots of times in my I try to play a bit too passively in at the start, and then it's just about mentalizing to attack more. And you see Lambo's doing exactly the same thing. He's like, no, I'm gonna go for the attacks even if it takes long.
Right, and he hits those shots on the corner table there pretty precisely, almost 3 times in a row.
Yeah. But the amount of balls that Adrich brings back is not normal.
Right. especially for you saying that he's not an actual table tennis player. Exactly.
But I think he's a really good tennis player, and he's managed to use his skills in here. It's very obvious. It has to do a bit with the way spin is produced and speed in the game still.
Right.
You can approach real life quite a bit, but at the same time you can still do stuff that in real life wouldn't work. Adrich has a bit of an advantage there.
Right. It's now tied 12-12 here in set number 1 to take home. First set. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, just missed that for Lambo there. 13-12. Can Adrich take this home as well? Oh!
Ooh. Yeah.
So Adrich does take home set number 1. We are in match number 2. Adrich is up 1-0. We start off here with Lambo's serve.
Wait, he wants a bit of time.
Right. So now have you, let's ask you this, ready? So you obviously have, you played table tennis in real life and everything. Have you tried to transfer any skills you've learned here in 11 table tennis to playing in real life? Obviously, it's kind of the same thing. Sure. Yeah, you have, for example, what?
Yeah. For example, because I didn't want to play with the adapter for a long while because a certain setting was still missing in the battle settings.
Okay.
Which we got now, which was the throw coefficient setting. I just played with the controller, and because I played with the controller, I couldn't change my grip like I would do with a normal paddle. So because of that, I kind of have more control on a more neutral grip on my paddle, which is a good thing really because it's faster. I used to have I still have it. I have a very different grip in my forehand and backhand.
Right.
And it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's a weak point because if they switch really fast from backhand to forehand, I can be a bit late because of it. And this new grip, I've tried it over the years to do it a couple of times to add it to my arsenal, and it never worked because if you have a grip that works for you, it's very hard to actually train enough in another grip to make it work. But it actually
allowed
works
you to do
quite well now. Yep.
Yeah,
it did.
That's awesome. I will say with my experience, I have played table tennis in real life and 11 table tennis, and we actually got a VR headset for my father, and he hasn't played table tennis in like 10 years, and he loves this. He plays it, and he was so shocked and confused at how accurate it was, and he picked it up 10 years later after not playing table tennis and was just hitting the balls like he used to, and just left and right with the spins, and it's just incredible. So
exactly, it's still a little bit easier than real life, so it feels even better.
Right.
That's a little bit the problem right now as well, because you don't want real life to feel harder.
Right.
Because that's what happens to me now. It's like I go play in real life and I feel like real life is cheating.
Yeah. As we're talking about that, Lambo does take set 2, so we are in match 2 right now, tied 1-1 on sets, and it is 2-2 here on the score. Like you said, we are very shocked that Adrich is actually keeping up and returning all these balls very well to Lambo. We do, on paper...
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not shocked about it because I know Adrich, and
true.
I know he can do this. But I've always been shocked about the fact that he's not a real tennis player.
On paper, you would assume Lambo would take this down easy, 3 sets none, or 3 matches done on paper, because of just his sheer experience.
In real life, yeah, but in the game, I would expect this to be a very, very close game.
Right, which has turned out to be so. Lambo actually is up 9-3 right now in set number 3. Let's see how this volley goes here. Ooh, Lambo hits the net and it goes over. Adrich getting a save there, and an ace. How often do you see aces in high-level play here and serves in table tennis?
It's not really a thing. Mostly because when it happens, it's like a miss from the other side, or like an edge ball. If it does happen, it's quite rare, and it's quite amazing to see. For sure, in real life, you see people just moving the wrong way, and then the serve goes the other way. It's
right. So Lambo does take game 2, match 2. You saw 14-12. He loses the first one, then I believe he gets 11-9, 11-7. So now it is 1-1 in the total score here as we start match 3. So now here's another question I have for you. So obviously, table tennis in real life, you're both playing in the same room and you're both there. There's no internet, no ping issue or anything like this. On online 11 table tennis and matches like this, how much has ping been an issue at all, or connection? Have you noticed that it's a factor or intertwined with anything?
At the start, yeah, you notice and you're like, probably I'm losing against this guy because of ping. But in the end, you get used to it that fast, and you realize the people that were beating you, they will probably still be beating you.
Right.
I mean, you do get better at the game also if you already had experience in real life. But yeah, I had the same. I know there's a lot of people that come in new as well that complain about it a bit, or people that avoid high pings. But for real life players or high level players, I noticed that we all kind of accept it because we have really good players all over the world.
Right.
And we want to play against all of them. And,
right.
We just get used to it. It's just too much fun. It doesn't really matter too much. Also, I give training in VR, and like to real people. And I have people all over the world as well taking classes, and it's just amazing that I can even see their body positions even though I'm not seeing a body.
Right.
And give comments on that and stuff. It's very crazy.
Absolutely incredible what a VR can do, and even for a game like this that allows, like with Lockdown, top players in person that can't play to play here and keep their skills up and practice and everything. It's incredible.
Exactly. I'm still confused by the fact that there's not more real life players in here. So we have Lambo, we have myself and Hidrauzu, I think. Pixel Fire, I'm quite sure as well, but I don't know what level he plays. I know Lambo stopped for a while, so he's actually, if I get that right, you'll have to ask him himself, I think. But I think he stopped playing, and now he's playing just in VR. But Hidrauzu and I, we both play second national division. Me, I play in Spain. Well, actually, I'm going to play first division this year.
Very nice.
And he plays in Poland. Yeah, very nice. But right now, because of all this mix-up and lockdown, I'm really bad in real life. In VR, I'm okay, but in real life, not so much.
So you were talking earlier about how it's hard to go back to real life compared to VR because of the tendencies and everything like that. How long would you say that it takes you just to focus on real life to get back to where you were? Is it like a thing that takes you 3-4 months to kind of get rid of the skills and tendencies of the VR to get back to the real life stuff, or is it just like a quick thing, like you play for like a couple hour sessions and you're fine?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have that much time, so I do 1 session a week now, and I did 2 sessions since August. I mean, I did a couple in July. like there's a lot of stuff that I already got under control, and also changing the settings a bit in 11 itself helps out a lot. So I can train with the better settings that are more like real life.
Right.
So it means if they give us all the settings that we need, we can probably readjust to real life in VR as well, which is a crazy idea.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very crazy to think about. So as we are in match 3 here, the score is 1-1 on matches total. In this match 3, it is tied on sets 1-1. So we are on set 3, and the score is actually tied as well, 2-2. So again, Alex, we are playing a best of 5 here for the semis and the finals and everything. So this set is a huge set right here. This is gonna make or break it. Go up 2-1 on matches and give kind of like a little comfort zone here. So from what you've seen so far from the gameplay, have you noticed anything about Lambo Adrich making a critical mistake that someone can exploit here, or what have you seen so far? It's been pretty kind of back and forth gameplay. I don't from at least my standpoint, I haven't seen anything that's like one person.
They're both speeding up. So I noticed that at some point Lambo was like starting to attack more and not doubting as much, but then Adrich is doing exactly the same. You see now, like points are still long, but both of them are playing stronger shots.
Right.
They're trying to pressure the other one. Yeah, it's very impressive. Also, Adrich is still, still his weak point, and his serves that are almost always the same to the middle of the table. But I've seen him do a couple of variances as well, which can be very surprising if it's always going to the same position and then you change.
Right. Because when you have someone like Lambo who can serve it, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ways, whatever it is, that can really throw you off as a returner on how you play the whole point there. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah, you're expecting it there, and then it's not going there.
Right.
But you can see, like in general, Adrich is a player that really likes the interchange of balls, like the fast game. This part, right? Mm-hmm. And like there's not a lot of backspin in his game. So like he's able to force this game, this way of playing quite fast. But Lambo is ready for it as well.
Right. And as you say that, you see Lambo does take down match number 3, excuse me. So he does go up score 2-1 on matches that we start match number 4 here. As you do point that out, I'm looking more and being more interested in Adrich's serve, and I see that he does serve it, essentially down the middle there with nothing there. But I mean, you would imagine with someone like that who's playing this high level with just the same serve overall, like wouldn't be holding his own here, So it's kind of incredible that he's doing the same serve over and over again, has, like you said, just a little bit of variances, but actually able to return other serves and play and maintain at this level.
Yeah. But the thing is, like the trap with him is that you think, oh yeah, easy ball, and then, but that's what he wants. He doesn't want you to start using too much backspin like this one, because I mean he can open up, but if you do it too well, he struggles with it more than with the open shots.
Right.
So like giving it, like for sure in this game as well, because you can put yourself out of position doing a more impressive serve, but then it doesn't have the same effect as in real life, and then you're out of position, right? So he keeps it simple and tries to start longer rallies, tries to control those. I mean, he simplifies the game a little bit,
Right.
Like there's not a lot of short game. He just makes it all a bit faster.
So what have you noticed about any of the players' movements and everything? Have you noticed anything interesting about it at all, or no? Is it kind of just basic and standard here? Like as far as like their physical body movements and stuff, I personally see Adrich kind of moving and bobbing and weaving left and right. Looks like he's standing on the balls of his toes, getting ready for everything. Whereas looks like Lambo's kind of stationary, ready to kind of see everything.
Exactly. Like I always notice that of Lambo as well, which is kind of weird because he would be way lower to the table.
Yeah, right. It looks like he's super lackadaisical about it, right?
Exactly. But that's also that's his strong point basically as well. That he always at least feels very, very relaxed when he plays.
Right. Whereas
Adrich just kind of feels the same though, but he's like right now he feels a bit more like the pace is a bit high.
Right.
He serves very fast and.
Right. I can see that.
I guess he's being put under pressure.
Right.
Which you don't see too much, I mean, I don't, because I play against him. Sometimes I win 50-50 if I'm playing under the right conditions. Mm-hmm. But if I'm not perfect, he's very punishing with those strokes. They're very secure.
So now, so in a situation like this where people are playing, and this is even for table tennis in real life too. How important is placement rather than style? like of your shots, obviously. So I mean, like if you have placement where it hits the corner and side table, that's a lot more important than putting a more power on the ball to get it into like the middle of the zone. Correct?
Yeah, it's also about rhythm and pace, right? So
Right.
It's not about playing the hardest stroke for sure, not in this game, because you see Adrich, he plays the ball like his fastballs, he plays them quite early, and he does, like I've played against him, and he opens up his angles really well. Not the serve, but afterwards he can do backhands that go like this, for example, as well.
Right.
Like he
Right.
opens up the angles a lot. And I have a feeling more people are able to do this in here than they are in real life. Most of the time when you play in real life, most balls they cross over the table when they're still over the table when they cross the final line. But in this game, lots of times they go over the sides. Like I have a feeling it happens a lot more.
Right. Right.
Maybe it's because of side spin, or I don't know. But I have a feeling like real players like Lambo and Hidrauto and I, we tend to do that a little bit less because we're not used to it. Like sometimes we're blocked, I guess, by our real life experience as well, just a little bit.
Right. Right. It has a whole different mentality and play style coming into it compared to someone else.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So as we're in match number 4 here, again, Lambo is up 2-1, and the score is actually tied 1-1 on sets here. Lambo does go up 6-5 in this third set here. If Lambo does win this, he does move on to the grand finals.
Right.
And Adrich will then go to the 3rd and 4th place match.
I mean, this could be a moment where things can get silly, worse, or they get more impressive, right? Because it's easy to just start making mistakes, or like this, for example. Like, yeah, he's having trouble serving.
Yeah. So we switch his serve up. Now, what have you noticed about Adrich throwing him
totally out of balance there. So
right. Go ahead.
I think they really position themselves really well in the middle of the table, but at the same time they don't move their feet, and that's I mean for sure for Lambo that's because he has a headset on, otherwise he would be.
Oh no, Adrich taken down. Match number 4, making it 2-2 on score. Lambo shot himself in the foot there. Looked like he made a couple mistakes there at the end to close it out. So now we're down to match number 5. Winner takes all of this 3-set match. Winner moves on to the finals. Loser would go to the 3rd, 4th place match.
Perfect. Perfect for a semifinal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what the viewers want to see, the high, fast-paced action here.
Exactly. Like I've played a couple of finals as well that it just wasn't working, and then you just feel bad because like it's a final, you want to show something.
Right.
But this is perfect, going all directions.
And just like that, Lambo's up 6-0. 6-0. 7-0 as Adrich shoots the ball off the table there in the left corner there. Oh no, 8-0 for Lambo, which is okay because this is still a 3-set match here. Still a 3-set match.
That can happen though. It doesn't mean too much.
Right.
I had something like that happen in another really, really long final against Pixel Fire 2 weeks ago. I had a couple of sets of 11-3, 11-2, but he still beat me in the end. It's like, it's hard to just keep going all the time, you know.
Right. Especially when I feel like in a game like this where things can really snowball quickly, but it's also really easy to kind of catch your breath and get back into it because it's just, I mean, you can just take a second, you know. So
yeah, exactly. But it depends. If you stay focused when you're like 5-1 ahead, you can probably finish up the game. But if you start to relax a little bit, which I think real players do a lot faster, maybe.
Right.
People can crawl back in, and that might happen with Lambo as well. It's happened with me in the past for sure as well.
The Lambo does take set number 1, so he is up 1-0 here in match number 4, and it looks like Adrich is kind of shooting over to Lambo's forehand, which is what we've seen in the past 2 matches here. It's kind of been where Lambo's been missing his shot. So let's see if Adrich actually attacks that more. How quick is it for you when you play someone compared to, we'll say, for example, for when you play someone 11 table tennis, how quick do you realize someone's weakness and then you start exploiting it? Is it like something that you notice right away, or is it something that you pick up after, you know, a couple times you play them? How does that work for you?
Oh, it really depends as well on the level of your, because Adrich also has a weak point. Lambo has the same, as you said, like going for the deep forehand, but it's about being able to exploit it and making sure they're not exploiting your weaknesses. It's always a back and forth. So I mean, Lambo's forehand is not just open; it becomes open because of how Adrich builds up the point as well.
Right.
So he pressures him in the middle and the backhand. If you play one forehand from the middle, your forehand, your deep forehand is always going to be more open. And as they're not moving their feet a lot, it's very hard to get there in time.
Right. So it's kind of like a mix of Adrich doing other things to set him up for his weak forehand.
Exactly. I don't think his forehand is specifically weak,
right,
but
right.
I think it's more his leg game right now. Like
right.
But I mean, he doesn't really need it. Look, yeah.
Right. As we say that, yeah, he's up 10-7 here, and that's it. There we have it. Lambo is your semifinal number 1 champion. We'll be moving on to the grand finals. Takes down Adrich 3-2 on matches. Semifinal number 2 is Pixel Fire versus Hydra, which you have his name. It's Hydrauso.
Hydrauso. That's how I say it.
Okay.
No, he never. I just suppose it's right.
We start off here. We have looks like. I think Pixel's on our short end here. Yes, Pixel is the one closest to us, and Hydrauso is the cat at the other side. Does that ever throw you off when you see someone playing as with a like an emote for the head or anything?
No, I think I'm a cat most of the time as well. Yeah, you just decide at some point. I'm like, I don't know, the VR headset. It seems
right.
Yeah, it's just a VR headset.
Right.
But yeah, a cat is just a cat as well. So in this game, it's 2 real life players. Like I said, I don't really know the real life level of Pixel Fire. I don't expect it to be very much lower than ours. Not for the way he's been playing over the last few weeks. Hydrauso, like Pixel Fire is a very open player, and all of his strokes can be very fast, forehand and backhand. But his spin is manageable. What Hydrauso does sometimes, though, in his forehand mostly, and in his backhand sometimes as well, if he can manage to put as much spin in as he can, it's almost impossible to block because it comes in very slow. It's a bit of it's not a cheat at all, but it's something that happened that he can do in the game, and he's already told me that in real life usually doesn't happen exactly like that. It's not that aggressive.
We see a great forehand there from Pixel going over to Hydrauso's forehand. But just like that, it's up 8-6 for Hydrauso. 9-6 as I say that. What do you know specifically about your playing experience with Pixel? Because you said you played Pixel in finals recently, and you also played him in the quarterfinals of this tournament, correct?
No, I played Lambo in the quarterfinals.
Oh, the Lambo in the quarterfinals. Okay, but you've met Pixel before in...
yeah, in the Facebook tournaments. They're happening every month. Well, they're smaller or bigger, it depends. There's no money involved at the moment. So yeah, so actually the last one we did, it's like there's a loser bracket as well. So I think the match I played against him was best of 7.
Oh, no. Wow.
Or it was a best of 5, and we played 3 sets for all matches.
Oh my!
It took us more than 40 minutes to finish the game. It was
oh my goodness!
But it was a lot of fun, and I lost in the end, but I couldn't feel too bad about it. It was just it felt very real, having that tension till the end. A lot of my how do you say it? My signature moves that I would do that are not really working right now in real life. I could do them in VR, which took a while. Yeah, it was very impressive. It felt very real.
So with playing with Pixel, that 3-day long best of 7 3 matches thing there. What have you noticed from Pixel the way he plays? Anything in particular?
Yeah, like his topspin forehand is very hard to deal with. I mean, Hydrauso's as well, mine as well. But he's very consistent with it. It almost always goes through the middle, and it has a lot of side spin. So it hits you in the middle, but then it goes to the other side. So how do you say it? It's very hard to deal with because it's always a weak point for almost every player. And as you're not moving your feet as much in this game, like your elbow is a very, very weak spot.
Just like that, Hydrauso is actually up 10-5 here in match number 1, set number 2, and I do believe Hydrauso won set number 1 as well. This would be an early start for Hydrauso.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, these two they've met each other last week as well, and talking about because I played a final against Pixel Fire, but then I still had to play in the lower bracket And then I lost against Lambo, I think. No, I don't know. Like I also won against Lambo in the same tournament. Then I lost again, and then they had to play 2 times because first Idrauzu won and Pixel Fire had not lost yet, and that was a match of 7 2 times. I think it was crazy.
Wow.
So they've played a lot the last weeks.
Right. And just as we talked about that when I said Idrauzu was in the driver's seat there, Idrauzu did throw a 10-5 lead, giving Pixel that set there 12-10. 7 unanswered points there for Pixel, as we all saw there. So it is now 1-1 in sets, and it is on first match. You're going to set 3. How often does something like that happen, Alex?
I would want to say that's rare, but in Pixel Fire, he has it on video. He said he's been doing this all the time. He did it twice in my match as well.
Really?
Well, one that he came back and he won. The other set, I still grabbed it. But I mean, for me, it was the first set. I mean, the first match that he won that way. Or the second, I don't remember. But anyway, like as we played all the matches, just getting that one match was very important, right? So yeah, it's starting to be a signature move, which I mean, it's not too good of an idea to start playing well when you're down 10-5, but he manages to do it.
It seems like it's working, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Looks kind of like Pixel has a generic serve as well, kind of. No real fancy nothing to it. Maybe just a little bit of spin there, kind of going towards the center to the right side there. When you play, what kind of serves do you typically like to use?
Yeah, so I'm one of the only players I think that really positions himself like you would do in real life. So I put myself on, I'm a left-hander, so I put myself on the right-hand corner, and I do mostly pendulum serves and a couple of reverse pendulum serves.
Okay.
Well, in my own way, it's not exactly the same. Yeah, so I try to use a little bit more backspin to stop these guys, because if there's not enough effect on it, they just open up from everywhere.
Right.
For sure, a player like Adrich, who just chooses to ignore whatever he sees because he doesn't know what he would do in real life. You know, it's true. Like if he would see the same in real life and he would try the same and would just go straight into the net, but because he doesn't know, he just plays through it.
Right. Kind of like that unorthodox style. It still kind of works out.
Exactly. He's not the only one though. There's a couple of other ones.
Right.
There's like a legend of Stony Days, Australian player who's arguably the best player, but he's not even playing ranked right now, so you wouldn't even be able to see it. But everybody knows he's hanging out there and beating everybody.
So as we saw there on the screen, Idrauzu did take down match 1. He did beat Pixel, I believe, 11-6. So Pixel is down now in matches 0-1, starting set number 1 here. Take a look at Pixel's serve there. Idrauzu does shoot over the table.
Yeah, so when it comes to serves, I'm quite sure Idrauzu, at least that I noticed, he's started to vary a lot more. Like he is, like when he plays in VR now. In the beginning, he was just trying to put it on the table like everybody does.
Right.
But I noticed that he's adding a lot of more real life variations as well. So it's one of the people that serves with the most variety right now.
And are those serves kind of harder to return rather than regular serves? What would you say?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's the small differences, and like touch is not the same in VR as it is in real life. So you're not able to control it as well.
Right.
If he does manage to put as much effect on it as it would be in real life. He also plays on the Rift FS, and we have this idea that the Rift S is able to put more spin on the ball for some reason. We don't really know why. Yeah.
And then,
but I mean that's not the only explanation for him winning it. He's really good.
So then talking with I know we mentioned it a little bit earlier or whatever, but talking about the spin you see in real life, I think you mentioned, was it it may have been Idrauzu, you said, that can get a lot of spin on some of his hits here, but in real life he can't get that much spin. Is that typical that you get more spin here in VR compared to real life, or is that just because with VR you can kind of control it differently with your headset and your handle and stuff, like your paddle? What do you think?
It goes both ways. And there's people that say that they can't put as much effect. It also depends on the settings. Sometimes you go and you put your settings as they would feel more realistic when it comes to curve and spin and speed. And other times you try to go for the amount of spin that you can put in real life. So yeah, it really depends. I put my bat very, very slow, so my short game is more similar. And then when I attack, it's actually slower than real life, which is why right now in real life I'm afraid of attacking hard, because it feels very uncontrolled because it's so fast. But it's something that the developer said it was gonna look into as well, to have slower ballers be slow strokes have slower bounce, and fast strokes have faster bounce, like a little bit more like real life, because he knows he's done some studies on this, and he knows that it's a bit too flat, the curve.
You see here, Pixel's up 5-4 here. So he does do a slam that does shoot off a table there. Yeah. Makes it 5-5. Go ahead.
So you saw that high ball, even though it was high, Hiraozu managed to put a lot of spin on that one.
Right.
So it's not that easy to just put it on the table, as you just saw.
And Hiraozu's doing that. Is that serve, is that what you would call kind of like a pendulum, but kind of like a different stance of it, because the way he kind of swings it like that?
Well, that's a backhand, so it's not called a pendulum. Honestly, I don't know. And guess they just call it backhand serves, because they almost always do the same. And you can say it's lateral, or that was really good ball. It's lateral, or it's backspin, or no spin. But otherwise, it's just a backhand serve, I guess. But that's the thing. He puts in a lot of variation, like making it backspin or more lateral, or maybe a little bit of topspin. And sometimes the difference is very small, but it can be enough to make you miss.
Right.
Of course.
As we now go into set number 3 of match number 2. Hiraozu is up 1-0 in matches.
Yeah. They look like they're enjoying it.
Yeah, they are. I saw Hiraozu get a little bit frustrated a second ago with one of his shots, whatever. But that's part of the game. That's part of the game. I feel like that happens a lot more here than in real life, because of the fact that you actually do play a lot more balls, a lot more points in quicker succession, like you were talking about.
Yeah. Like it does help a lot when it comes to focus. Like if you play a lot in VR, I'm quite sure your focus is gonna be more. You're gonna be more focused in real life as well, because you're always ready for the next ball. Honestly, though, about frustration, I've had my frustrations in here as well. And then sometimes I just want to grab the staircase there. Just lean against it, but it's not real.
right. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think here. For a funny story for you guys, when I actually got my dad, he has a Quest, and I have a Quest as well. Actually, my mother wanted to play, and so I play at my house, and my dad plays at his house, whatever. So my mom and dad both have played, and my dad made the mistake immediately he said that when he has a floater come to him, which I'm assuming he calls a floater a ball that's just in the air higher, when he wants to slam it, he in real life puts his hand on the table and smacks it. So he tried that in VR, and he stumbled for a second, and obviously you could see his headset and everything kind of fall over, and kind of a little bit of whatever, so it was kind of funny. He was laughing at it, but my mom tried it. She was just playing or whatever, and she I think my girlfriend was playing. That was a crazy hit there with that curve going off the table there.
Yeah, that's what I was.
There it is again. There it is again.
Is very hard to deal with.
Yeah, and that's Pixel hitting that.
So I mean, he has spin and speed, but if you get your battle to it, you can block it. But he's dealing quite well with the Hiraozus. But some of them are even spinnier, and I mean, if you wait too long, the spin just doesn't leave the ball.
Right.
It's very hard to get back down.
Right. I feel like, at least with me and someone who's a very casual, fun player with it, I have the most trouble hitting any kind of balls that have spin coming at me there. That's me personally.
Yeah.
So, as you see, that actually Pixel does take down match number 2, so it is tied 1-1 here on matches.
Yeah, amazing. Very nice.
11-7, he loses, and he comes back 11-8, 11-6. You can go into match number 3 here, and it is 1-1.
About the story, the anecdote that you just told about your dad and your mom.
Yes.
When I was in Belgium as well, because I'm a Belgian, but I live in Spain at the moment. Well, we're going to move back. But I showed it to a friend who's I've always done all kinds of sports with him, but we always played table tennis together as well when we were younger. And I let him try. And the first thing he wants to do when he wanted to stop playing was put down the pedal on the table. right? But it's not real.
Right.
So I mean, like he was dying laughing as well because like he'd never tried VR before, and just the fact that he thought it was real, it was like he thought it was so funny, and it is. It's super funny, of course. I mean, it just shows as well because a lot of people don't realize what it's about. You know, they just think like, yeah, it's video games or whatever. They can't really imagine until they're there. But still, I haven't been able to convince him to buy his own, which is sad because I will be able to play against him when he's in Belgium and I'm here. But maybe one day.
Actually, going back to that story, like you were talking about, whatever, with your friend putting the paddle down, whatever. You know, so my dad reached on the table and kind of fell a little bit or stumbled a little bit. And you could see it in the VR. My mom, someone hit a forehand to her, I think, and she was walking over to the left, and she actually fell, and you could see her headset, you know, kind of just stumble and fall, or whatever. And it wasn't funny, but it was funny when she got up and she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay, whatever." She's like, "This is just," and she immediately goes, she's like, "This is so real," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I had something quite crazy happen that was not real. That was my girlfriend's dad. He tried it, but he was gripping the controls so strongly that he was moving the table all the time, and he didn't realize. So like, it's already hard for people to stay in a certain zone when they're in VR if they're not used to it. And he was just all over the place. I'm like, stop, because he was just moving the whole room all the time. Yeah.
It's crazy though. I mean, especially in a game like this too. Like obviously, you know, you're not physically moving too much, but you can get a nice sweat and a good cardio workout from playing this ping pong.
Oh yeah. So what I used to do before the ball launcher was created a couple of months ago, I used to warm up with Thrill of the Fight, right?
Yeah.
Just go in there, do a match. You'll be sweating in 2 seconds, and then come in here and play some matches. But now with the ball launcher, like it's easier to move your feet as well when you know where the ball is going. So I made a couple of exercises. If you're on the Discord, you've probably seen it as well. There's like what is it, ball machine drills or something. A lot of them are mine, and I mean, I have 20 minutes of that, and you're sweating for sure. I mean, 5 minutes you're sweating. It depends what kind of exercise you're doing, but I always start with the more basic ones to get a feeling, and then afterwards I do footwork as well, which is something that is lacking in VR a little bit, but you can train it. So you can really, like, if it's about training with the Quest, you can really do a lot of footwork. As I said, because you know more or less where you're moving. It's very hard to move fast when in a multiplayer match because you don't know exactly what's happening. But if it's for an exercise, it's you can really do a lot.
And just like that, we are in match number 3 again, and we do go to set number 3, tie 1-1 again. It is 1-1 Pixel and Hydrauso. It is 1-1 on matches. So again, just like in semifinal 1, where kind of looks like we're going to possibly go the distance here, and this is just what we want here. Nice fast action table tennis here. Oh, it looks like Hydrauso lagged there. He looks like he is very upset with that play there.
That's the worst. That's the worst. That happens sometimes.
Right. But at least that was only the first point, you know? Like, I mean, it's not that it wasn't later on in the game where it was a critical point, at least.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it's critical, you know?
Very true,
if
very
true. 2-point difference or 1-point difference.
He is getting very upset, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it can become very hard to enforce your own game. And you're just hoping the other guys miss a couple of points so you can catch your breath. But if they don't, they keep putting on the pressure. Or if they just let you miss, which is basically, I mean, at this level, it doesn't happen that much. But of course, if you play at lower levels, you just need to put the ball on the table, right?
Right.
But still.
Here's 6-2 Hydrauso. They got a nice good volley there, but it looks like Hydrauso was able to get it down. So 7-2 for Hydrauso. You can see that it looks like Hydrauso misses all these shots, but it's obviously the ping. And then he smacks the ball off the table as he is in some frustration. Now, how does that change in real life, Alex? For example, if you play in real life and you hit the net 3 or 4 times in a row, do you have the opportunity to like take a second, walk away, take a breather, get a sip of water, stuff like that, and relax and compose yourself?
There are time limits. There are time limits in real life. But of course, they're going to be longer anyway because you can go a little bit slower to get the ball. I mean, if it's obvious, they're going to give you a warning or something.
Right.
In general, you do have some time to take a breath before you serve.
Right.
or before you return the ball in some cases, of course, or before you say that you're ready, because that happens some people. That's one of the worst things in real life. If you're ready to serve, but the other guy is still like,
right,
taking his time, breathing, and that's one of the most nerve-wracking things ever. And some players do it on purpose, right, to get you out of your rhythm, which is, I mean, it's part of the game. So,
and as we saw there, what an incredible shot by Pixel to keep it, to bring it 10-10. Yeah, and then he overshoots the table there, though.
Pixel has very good control of his nerves. Like, I rarely see him out any frustration.
Right.
I mean, I've done it against him. I've seen Hydrauso do it against me as well. But Pixel Fire, he's always just happy to be playing, it seems.
Right.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, and even with him overshooting that table on the right side, you see him giving the good gentleman's clap there for a good set there. As Hydrauso does take that down, I believe 12-10. So it does put him up 2-1 on matches total. 2-1. So just one more best of 3 sets here for Hydrauso, and he will move on to the grand finals against our other player who is already in the grand finals, Lambo. We see here, that's like the 4th or 5th time that we've seen Pixel smack a forehand that goes all the way across, and you would call that a for Hydrauso a deep forehand return, right? Is what you were calling it?
Yeah, that's a top spin to the deep forehand. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that was the weak spot of Lambo as well, as we saw before. It's because of the not moving your feet. For me, it's the same, but it's the other corner because I'm a left-handed player. But I mean, that's like, I'm still surprised that all of us get to so many balls. It feels like the table must be smaller, because in real life, you move so much more to get to all those balls.
Right.
I guess you take a little bit more distance as well. There's no lag, so the ball comes in. That's what I was talking about. Those spinny balls.
Yes.
Very hard to deal with. Yeah.
Good volley going on there, and Pixel does hit into the net there. I feel like a lot of unforced errors there from Pixel so far. A lot of unforced errors that he's done. Either he hits in the net or he hits it, overshoots it, or off the table or whatever. But, I mean,
I'm not entirely sure, because it's like, I wouldn't call them totally unforced, because I have a feeling Hydrauso, like this, for example, it's not just Pixel Fire missing.
Right, it's Hydrauso setting him up. Right. I see what you're saying.
That's what I was saying. Those 2 serves. That's the variation that I talked about before, and he might forget sometimes to apply it all the time, or he only uses it in key moments, and it's very hard, because that serve normally never goes to the back end of Pixel Fire, but now it did, and he wasn't ready for it. Yeah. He's also a very smart player as well. Right.
I was going to ask you, so obviously there's a lot of strategy and skill involved with, your shot placement, spins, and kind of like, your physical body movements and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
How much percentage-wise would you say out of 100 you think goes into strategy and kind of getting in the player's head and kind of seeing where you want to hit the ball and stuff like that? As far as, like, I'm going to hit 2 forehands here and then kind of, hit a forehand short side and then smack it home, deep forehand. Like, you kind of understand what I'm saying there, right? How much is involved with that?
I know. It depends on the player. I just hope, to have the time to think about that stuff. But sometimes I just forget, and I'm like, a lot of it also because we're real life players, I guess, is just instinctive. Like, we use the angles as we see them, like we use them automatically.
Right.
The idea is that by playing to the right positions, you close the options of the other player. So you only play to certain positions if you're sure that that they're not expecting it, because otherwise they will have an easy point if they're ready for it sometimes, right? So I mean, there's basic stuff like that you notice sometimes afterwards. You're like, oh no, of course I shouldn't have done that, right? Because you realize what the strategy should have been. But then even for a couple of points you're aware of it. But I think some players are very, very much doing that. The higher level you go, the more control they have of placement and everything, and the more they'll be working on that. And I imagine that Hydrauso does it a lot as well.
Right.
But I don't know he would have to say it himself, because sometimes, like I said, he can just be doing all that perfectly, but it's just because he's so used to it, not really thinking about it anymore. Pixel Fire, honestly, like Hydrauso, I played, and I invited him to the Discord, and I could beat him fine for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden, in I think the first tournament final that we played, all of a sudden he came out with all those very spinny shots, and I was like, where did that come from? And Pixel Fire has been the same just in the last 2 weeks. Like I could deal with it before. I mean, I saw him win a couple of other tournaments when I wasn't playing. But whenever I played him, I felt like, okay, like he's a good player, but I can handle him. But then when we played the longer match,
right, and actually just like that, what we're talking about, Hydrazo does take it down and actually does win the semifinal number 2 against Pixel.
Right,
3-1. You're totally fine. He brought it down to 11-7, 11-7, I think it was for match 3. So he will move on to the finals and face Lambo in the grand finals. As we move over here to the 3rd place match, we're going to see Pixel again against Adrich. This is the 3rd place match here for the VR Fitness Summit 11 Table Tennis Finals, brought to you by VAL, the Virtual Athletics League. So I believe Adrich is on the short side here.
I can imagine that Adrich can be really hard to deal with for Pixel Fire.
Why is that?
It's the idea that he's not a real. I noticed Pixel Fire has played really well against me, against Hydrazo as well. But like for me, Adrich can be harder as well, just because he's so different.
Right. Like that unorthodox play we talked about. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look so different, but yeah, like I said, he simplifies the game. He plays more open strokes, and then it's very easy to get sucked into it because it's also a lot of fun to play that way.
Right. Just by watching him here, he looks like he plays like a very standard and basic game. Like we're watching him, he's shooting his backhand all the way across the table right side, and it's hitting on the corner. And then the return comes back, and then he hits it completely to the opposite side, no spin, just straight line drive shot to the left side. Looks like he's making the players move as much as he can while just keeping it very plain, simple, and basic, like you said.
Exactly.
Which is very interesting to see.
He can have very short and compact moves. I mean, tennis is supposed to be from way bigger movements, but sometimes I see him do something so small that okay, in this game, like it's gonna help you a lot. Because if you do the big swings and then he's there and he takes it early, the ball comes back really quite fast. Also, you see every game that Pixel Fire has played is a high lag game, right? Because he's in Brazil.
Right.
So it's like 200 milliseconds. But like sometimes you see a ball bounce twice or something, but you see that they're still playing perfectly fine.
Right. I was going to say, it doesn't really look like it's hindering them too much at all. And even from like the viewer perspective, like it's not really that like laggy, essentially, you know?
No.
It's not that bad.
No, exactly. And actually, as I see it now, it's like 300 whipping. So
right.
It's even higher.
Right.
I mean, in the future as well, you'll be able to record in-game, and then the recording will have no lag at all, which will be really cool. So you can see both sides touch the ball exactly like it was. Yeah, there's so much stuff planned for this game. It's crazy.
It's incredible. I know, but it's received, I feel like, a huge welcoming and a huge warming because of the fact that it is very, very closely comparable to table tennis. So I mean,
exactly. It also depends. Like I'm always a bit scared of that because I mean, who's the one deciding, right?
Right.
And I notice in this game, like you have me, you have Lambo, you have Hydrazo players as well. Also a high-level girl as well here that actually lives quite close to me in Spain. Imart, I think, 11 or something in the game. She's very, very solid as well. And she's a real-life player. And this is the game that allows us to use most of her skills right away without, worrying too much. And that is very impressive. But still, like I'm really looking forward to every step they take to make it closer to real life. And then also, I'm very interested to see how Adrich and Stony Days, for example, how they adapt to it. Because I know like all of them have tried in real life as well, and they have different experiences with it, which of course is not the same thing. But if they can actually train in a way that it will be usable in real life, almost 100%,
right?
They might actually become very, very strong in real life too, which will be amazing.
Let's serve.
We see here it's 10-9 for Pixel. Oh no! Adrich hitting it into the net there, which is okay because it's still match 1. Makes it 1-1 in sets there.
Yeah, there's a thing with Adrich, like I said, like his backspin balls, he can deal with it, but he's not as good with it as somebody like Hydrazo, for example, or Pixel Fire. They can really spin up the ball a lot more. If he takes it early, he can speed up. He can speed through the ball, but he doesn't really spin it up as much. Like this, what he just did. It's quite spinny, but still, it's not like what Hydrazo did.
Right.
just kind of pushes through it. So if you manage to put in a lot of backspin, you can get him into a bit of trouble if he doesn't see it.
And it looks like I will say when Adrich does get the fast slams going back into him and the fast hits from Pixel and even Lambo in the first round when the ones in a vertical. It looks like when he returns it, he's just super cool, calm, and collected, and just taps it right back like it's just clinical and there's nothing to it, you know? Which is kind of interesting to see.
Yeah.
Like it's like
I mean,
it's incredible. Go ahead.
I mean, all those players, they're also very, very humble. Like when they talk, there's always like a post-game chat as well in this, and it's just amazing to see how Adrich speaks about other players as well, and how he's amazed by, for example, Pixel Fire or Hydrauzo or Lambo. Yeah, I mean, it's for us, it's just a lot of fun to be in there and to see all these different type styles and stuff, and to enjoy playing against it.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially at a time, I guess, with the quarantine going on, especially this year and everything, it was probably perfect timing for you guys to continue to grow the sport and the game itself. Yeah,
exactly. I was a bit, well, everybody, I guess, was a bit disappointed that even if people would want to sets, they were all out of stock. Well, they could because they're mainly produced in China, right?
Right.
So yeah, it was a bit of a lost opportunity there, I think, building the VR community, but I guess soon. The thing is, like, once people go outside, they might lose interest. Like, they might have been happy to try now because they were inside.
Mm-hmm.
But if there were no headsets available, I think it might really be. We'll probably notice that. But
right.
I mean, who knows?
And just like that, Pixel does shoot forehand off the table there, which does give Adrich the match win, which puts him up 1-0, I believe, in matches total as we start match number 2 here. Let's see here. Look, Adrich is getting more into it now. You can see he's getting more, agile and getting more comfortable moving around. I wanted to ask you. So obviously, when someone watches tennis, like actual tennis in real life, not table tennis,
mm-hmm.
it's typical that you see the player when they use a forehand, they shoot it across their body all the way to the left. The opponent runs all the way from their right to their left, and pretty much the goal is to kind of essentially make the other player run left, right, and then every once in a while kind of throw in a ball that makes them, second guess where they're going, so they, get stuck in no man's
mm-hmm.
land. Here here in ping pong, like we talked about, there's not really much moving going on there.
Well, it's more than you realize, but like I said,
True.
like they decide not to move their feet, and it's just because of the headset. I think in some way, like for sure, like now Pixel Fire, I think I've also seen a video of him before, and he does try to really bend his knees and move. And I noticed as well, his deep forehand is not as much a weak spot like Hydrauzo's and Lambo's.
Right.
Because he actually moves. I can see him go there. But yeah, and it's basically the same as table tennis. The thing is, you don't have, so you have to move laterally very fast without being able to turn your body or anything. So actually, when it comes to speed, yeah, no, it's all very short distances, but the speed is there for sure.
Right.
And now in this game, like I said, most players play a bit more conservatively. So if everybody moves a bit less, I guess if you move more, you have a bit of an advantage. I sometimes notice that because I sometimes start moving a bit more and sometimes actually make a little jump or really go for a ball that's in a corner, and I don't see almost anybody else trying that.
Right.
And I mean, that just makes the point a bit longer, and maybe sometimes I save a point that I could have lost before. Well, just like real life, I guess. But you see, like here, Pixel Fire covered the deep forehand, deep backhand without too much issue. So he's moving there. It's not.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see the final against Lambo and Hydrauzo, who kind of both, like we talked about, kind of had a weak, deeper forehand. But I wonder if either of them are going to exploit it from each other. It's going to be interesting to see who has the better one there.
The thing is, both those players, even though they might not have much before, they have capacity a lot, right? So,
right.
You never know. They can start activating. They can start, maybe they like. I know Hydrauzo had a chair in the times, so when he moved his chair out of the way, he's like a totally different player. So they can do that stuff, and all of a sudden they're moving all over. So we'll have to see. Or they can actually, I don't think they can do it, but me in the quest, for example, I've never done it, but I could go to a real club and make use of the space, you know.
Right.
Be able to move a lot more. But we're also kind of waiting on a new environment that's going to be based on a more professional table tennis setting.
Like a new background for the game?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And I mean, the lighting is going to be perfect, and there will be more space. So if you are in a more spacious environment, you can really go backwards a lot more and stuff.
Gotcha.
That'll be very nice too. But for now, yeah, I mean, if I go back sometimes on this side, I have to watch out because I can catch the ball very low,
right?
And the ball can just touch the bed before it touches my bat, which is a weird idea because there's a bed right behind this table.
Behind you. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I notice sometimes. I'm like, hey, what happened? And yeah, it hit the bed.
Just like that, Pixel does win match number 2, it is, I believe. So it is 1-1 here total.
Nice.
On matches. It was 11-8, 11-8 there, so pretty easy there.
Yeah, they're not letting go. Like I've seen in other tournaments, you notice there's a 4-0. And, I mean, sometimes it's also like there's a bit of fatigue coming in. Like
right.
You get tired because maybe you're playing too many matches or whatever, and you're like, okay, it's not going well. I'll just try to play my best, but you start giving up a little bit. Like it's not the same if you're playing for money, I guess. So
right.
I think their competition drive has been activated, and they're really fighting for everything.
Right.
Which is nice. Good to see.
Yeah, because you get more competition, you get more, high fast-paced action going on for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They managed to pull off a deep fast backhand against Pixel Fire.
Yeah, I see that. Again,
I mean,
obviously,
some balls are just always going to be hard, you know.
Right. But obviously, like you said, Adrich to you, not really a shock, but on paper, compared to everyone else's credentials and stuff, and the way that he plays, like you said, it's kind of interesting to see the way that he does this, and the fact that he's actually holding up with other people. But again, to you, obviously, you played with him for a while, not a shock at all, and very expected.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a tennis player, I think I'm not really sure, but he might be quite high level. He might have been quite high level. So, I mean, we notice a lot in real life that there's tennis players. They come in, there's like, yeah, I'm really good at tennis, and they start playing table tennis, and they think they're gonna control it really fast, and that never happens.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see this happen in this game. They do manage to transfer a lot of their skills in this game. Which makes it for us less realistic, but it makes it interesting for us as well because we have competition against tennis players that usually we wouldn't have. It's very nice. Like I like the fact that they have their own way of playing, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to it being more realistic. But at the same time, I would be happy for them to keep playing with the settings that they have now, as long as we can get the more realistic ones as well.
So we see here, starting set 2. Pixel's serve, and that's actually something else I wanted to ask you too. In real tennis, at least, and I can't really speak too much about real ping pong because I'm inexperienced with that. I know having a serve and breaking serve are very important, and can prove to be very crucial there. In ping pong, we'll talk about specifically 11 table tennis here. Is that such a big factor here, or no? Because it's kind of still kind of the same thing with breaking the serve and holding your serve points there. I mean, kind of elaborate on that for me.
Yeah, it's a bit double. I think it's less important than it is in real life, but players as well. So if you play in lower levels, you can do a lot of damage with a serve.
Right.
There's also serves in VR that work that in real life would be punished a lot faster. So there's this. You don't see it happen here a lot, but at a little bit lower level, people do a very fast topspin serve because it's also what people think would work in real life, but it doesn't. If you do that in real life, it's quite easy to read where it's gonna go, and then it gets attacked, and you lose a point quite fast. But in here, it's a bit different. So yeah, it's interesting to see as well, like how it differs, for sure. But yeah, like return is still, it's still very important. Like when I give classes as well, I teach them how to push as well and how to play with backspin, because lots of times they don't even think about it. They just want to start opening up, just like Adrich does, right?
Right.
but it can still come in really handy because people are not expecting a lot of backspin in this game either, and in real life, I mean, you kind of need it. Also, because opening up on a non-backspin ball is easier in this game than if you just get there and you do the stroke well. I mean, that's at least how I feel. Also, because if you just play with the controller, it's a lot lighter, so it's easier to get to the ball. And then if you can vary a bit and you have some backspin in there as well, it's gonna help you out.
So you see 10-9 here for Adrich. The volley going on, but he does shoot it off the table there. Yep. Good for Pixel. Evens it up 10-10. Back to Pixel's serve. Ooh, nice. No. Adrich throwing it off the table. Oh. And again, it's just the placement with Adrich from what I've seen. Just the placement of his shots.
Yeah. I mean, also that kind of backspin thingy he does when he gets to respond to an attack. Like, yeah, I guess that's a tennis thing more than a table tennis thing.
Right. Right. And in that little sequence right there we just saw, he did hit it from his forehand to Pixel's forehand, and then immediately shot it with his backhand right across the table, like almost horizontally to the right.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's using a lot of tennis tactics that way. Like, like he's playing more with placement after his serve. Like he does a quite neutral serve, and then he's all about placement.
Right. Adrich does take it down 11-7, 15-13. I do believe... Yeah, I was going to say, I do believe Adrich is now up in matches 2-1. And this is huge for Adrich here. This is huge.
Let's serve.
The way he's been playing is, like we said, since day one that we saw him in the first time, was very consistent. He did run into some trouble with Lambo there, actually getting knocked out by Lambo in the semis. But it wasn't a 3-0 knockout. It was a 3-2, went down to the last set. And it was a very clinical game.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very good fight. Yeah, it's like you said, consistency in Adrich is one of his strongest points. That's like if you have any doubts on the other side, too sure, like he's not gonna have any doubts. He just keeps playing. Right,
and it seems like we talked about too, compared to someone like Hydrauzo that we saw last time against Pixel, when Hydrauzo made a mistake, and that could have been there's other influences going on, whatever. But he was visibly frustrated, which didn't end up hurting him in the end because he ended up making it to the grand finals and everything. But when you see Adrich make a mistake, he's like, oh well, next ball, let's go.
Also, I guess it's also the frame of reference. Like Hydrauzo, and Pixel Fires, I guess it's also the same. We know like this shouldn't have happened. Like this is a tracking issue, or this is, even though sometimes we're wrong, because in real life we also get frustrated. And there's no tracking issues. So. But I have a feeling like Adrich for sure. Like lots of times it seems like he's playing without any pressure. He's just like happy to be there. Like I said with Pixel Fire, it feels the same.
Yes, it does. It does feel the same for Pixel.
Yeah. I mean, I know Hydrauzo was very happy to be there as well.
But for sure, yeah.
We just really want to play all those balls. They need to be perfect.
Right. And I think like you were talking about, like you guys that are table tennis players in real life, when you come here and play 11, that like you said, you guys want it to be perfect. And you have this inclination of how it's supposed to go and everything. So it doesn't go that way, is where it be the issue of the ping or issue of that, whatever, that gets a little bit frustrating because you do this all day, every day for a living, essentially, right? So yeah, and
also like technical issues. I know in the case of every so many minutes or maybe once a day he has this specific issue, and it must be very frustrating if it hits in a final like this or semi-final.
Right.
And there's not much. I mean, it's not much you can say about that. Like it is just very frustrating. Anyway, when I get frustrated, it's just because I can't really, how do you say it, enforce my own game, or maybe I'm playing slower because I'm a bit tense and I'm not being as aggressive as I should be, and you're just mainly disappointed that you're not doing more. So you can play better, right? But it's always a combination of what the other player is doing as well.
Right.
But in the moment itself, sometimes you forget. You think, no, it's just all you, but no. Lots of times it's just small variations from the other side that are making.
And I feel like I know the answer to this question, but what makes a top player compared to just being a good player is being able to have all these different play styles to be able to adapt to who they're playing, correct?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
either conservative, play aggressive, kind of like a hybrid style, compared to someone who just plays straight up, I'm playing my game the whole time, I'm not going to adapt, and if someone counters me, I'm just not going to be good.
Exactly. Even though there's people that have very specific ways of playing, and they train it very hard, and that they're always able to enforce their game.
Right.
I don't really think that way. But the danger of not having a very specific game sometimes is that it's like, what are you enforcing then, right? So it's always good to have an idea of what your preference is, but then being able to adapt, being flexible is very important. And in real life, it's a little bit easier for me because it's easier to go backwards and to play some lobs and all that stuff. I try to do it in this game as well, but it's way more dangerous because you don't always know exactly what's going to happen. If it's going to come right in front of your body, is off, or you have to catch it very low, and I mean the quest doesn't track that well either. All that stuff. It's a bit more dangerous to play defensively in VR.
Now, Adrich is up 5-3 here, and this is match 4. Adrich is up 2-1 total, and it is tied 1-1 in sets here in the VR Fitness Summit 11 Table Tennis Finals, brought to you by VAL. This is the 3rd and 4th place match here. It looks kind of like, I mean, obviously we're talking about how Adrich's style is, common, casual, and very, very tennis-like. But even with us saying that and saying how clinical that Adrich has been and kind of consistent he's been, Pixel's still right there. I mean, he's hitting some crazy shots too. And even with a little bit of the ping difference, like we talked about, whatever, it's not really hindering him at all and everything. And he's still hitting some nice quality shots as well.
Oh man,
yeah.
For example, that angle is crazy.
Yeah.
Like from where he was playing, it was a forehand. It went that deep, parallel. It's because usually you would think like, oh, I play to the deep forehand, or like I'm closing down this angle, but then he goes for it anyway, and it's still very, very wide. I guess that's a tennis thing as well. Also seeing the table as a whole field and back,
right. And just like that, we have Adrich taken down Pixel for the 3rd and 4th place match. And just like that, Alex, we are into the grand finals. Lambo versus Hydrauzo. What do you think so far? What's your call going into this? What do you got? Ooh, putting you on the hot seat, huh?
Yeah, it's again, it's the same. Like when you talk about top 5 players, and probably most of top 10 players as well, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen. Sometimes the position just is a matter of who's been playing more often, who's been playing more of the top players. Because sometimes you see Pixelfire go all the way up, then you see Drowser go up, then you see Lambo go up. I've never made it all the way to the top, and I just hope. That's because I haven't had that much time to play. But I don't think that's true. I think first 5 positions are a good spot for me. And in this case, like I can win against Lambo. Lambo can win against me. I can win against Drowser. Honestly, Drowser is a very hard customer for me because of those spinny shots. For some reason, maybe I give him too much space. He's able to do them a lot against me. But now Lambo is a little bit easier for me. Pixelfire, I don't really have to call them easier, but specific stroke that I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this. And Drowser does have that for me. But Lambo has a Pixelfire as well. They have really fast backends if they want to. So I mean, I don't worry about it too much because I just don't get to those balls. So it doesn't matter if there's a lot of spin on it. It's just too fast, right? And Drowser is just very annoying because it comes in so slow. You have ages of time to get there, and then you still can't handle it. It's very annoying.
And you can see that these 2 players are ready for the finals. Some of their volleys early on have been incredible volleys so far.
Yeah. No, I expect them.
Ooh, and that kind of serve there from Lambo too really threw Hydrauzo off there. That
I have a feeling Lambo is bending his knees a lot more in this match.
He's got to be, right? He's got to be.
Yeah.
As we say that, Lambo does shoot his forehand off the table. They're giving Hydrauzo the 1-0 set lead in match number 1 here. What kind of grip is that? Maybe I'll point it out here in a second here when Lambo does that serve again. It's like an underhand. Like it's kind of like that, but it was more more underhand
Yeah,
base.
It's kind of like
But
in real life, it's kind of weird to do it from that position that way. But yeah, I guess we're all adapting a little bit. I guess it's more about the surprise and change the angle a little bit from where the ball is coming. And sometimes it's a combination, you know. You do the serve not that much, but you know more or less where it's going to return, and then attack the next ball. Sometimes if you do it all the time, you can really get a quick point that way. Just enforce your game, at least for a couple of points.
Now, obviously, table tennis has been around for a very long time. And obviously the game has changed, you know, pretty much you could say every day the game changes. Do you think 11 table tennis is allowing the game of table tennis, like in real life, to change and progress at a quicker rate?
Honestly, that's what I would see in the future.
Okay.
At the moment, like I said, I think at the moment the highest level players that we have are second national division. And you have to think that there's first national division, honorary division, and then super, right? And that's just in a national setting. And because then you have the international divisions, which are like it's a totally different world. But honestly, I can see, like, for example, when I was 16 and was playing quite well, I got a chance to play higher, then it was blocked for some reason, and then, you know, I just grew a bit older, and when you're 21 they just give up. Nobody gives you like personal training anymore, or you have to have a lot of money, pay them, whatever. This game, however, like if I would have had it when I was younger, I would have been able to keep growing and keep upping my level without having to worry too much about money or training or even clubs accepting me. And I don't want to tell people to be in VR all the time when they're young, but it's an amazing tool to fill in a couple of gaps. Like if there's a lot of really good players that just give up also because there's not much money to be made, and they can't really spend the time to go and train somewhere or pay for a trainer, all that stuff. If you can do it in here and just train once a week instead of 5 times a week in real life, and then play competition, I mean, and there's I'm expecting a lot from it, but people just have to look at it and adapt it in their schedules. I think there's interest for it. I mean, I've had interest. I've had some of my best games in real life after training only in VR for a week. That was in the last years before the lockdown. Because sometimes I didn't have time to train in real life. I just played in VR. And I came back and I was so happy to be able to put in a lot of spin, because back then VR was still harder than real life. So in real life, it felt like it was easy. Now it's a bit the opposite, which is a bit, you know, it's good, you know, like it feels really good in VR, but it's bad when you go to real life, because real life feels too hard, and that's, I mean, it's worse for real life right now. But I think it's gonna get much closer soon.
So as we see here in the VR Fitness Summit 11 Table Tennis Grand Finals here, brought to you by VAL, the Virtual Athletics League. In match number 1, we had Hydrauzo and Lambo. We're in the Grand Finals, and Hydrauzo did take it down, I believe, 11-9, 11-9. He is up 1-0, and we are on match number 2, and Lambo did win the first set. First set in match 2, so we are sitting here. We did see right there, another one perfect, another one right there. Hydrauzo is starting to exploit and take advantage of Lambo's deep forehand weakness that we've seen. He has returned a couple, but it looks like Hydrauzo still keeps going back to that. Whether it's he's setting it up for that perfectly, or whether he's just going to it after a volley extends for X amount of time.
Honestly, as well, in this case, I noticed as well, like because of the restrictions in VR, I try to be more aware of where I position my body, depending on where I place the ball. And I have a feeling if you place the ball deep to the forehand of Hydrauzo, he's always going diagonally, right? So if Lambo doesn't respond to that and move all the way there, it's gonna be a quick point, because it goes too deep. And actually, when you notice when Hydrauzo plays parallel, it's slower because the table is shorter, so there's more. But when he goes diagonal, it seems way faster.
Right. And if Hydrauzo can take quick work of that and note that in himself. This might be a quick work final here for Hydrauzo. But as we say that, though, I mean, Lambo is hitting these shots back, and Lambo is finding Hydrauzo's weakness too. I don't want to just say that, Hydrauzo is going to do that, because, I mean, Lambo is literally returning him and hitting him right back where he needs to, and getting Hydrauzo to move as well. So
Lambo has a lot of real life experience. Right. He has a really strong backhand and forehand. It's all about, like, if he's using it or not, if he's the first one to attack. I mean, it's quite important in this game, it seems, to start putting pressure first. It's not always the case. I've played games in here as well that I win mostly because the other person attacks first, but I'm able to counter very fast. That's what happens against Adrich. If I do win against him, most of the time he might attack first, but then the returning ball is faster. Which is, I mean, it looks amazing. But it's like when you do it in a tournament, not that easy, because there's a lot more pressure to move that fast. I mean, both of them are really keeping up quite well.
No, they are.
It's final.
Back and back, back and back. 13-13 here. We see, and I also see Lambo is switching up his serves quite a bit too. He is trying to keep Hydrauzo on his toes.
Yeah.
Oh, and he throws it off the edge. They're giving it 15-13 to Hydrauzo. So it is just like that. It is still 1-0 on matches to Hydrauzo, but in match number 2, it is 1-1 on sets. So this could be bad here for Lambo if he does lose a set. That does leave Hydrauzo up 2-0. But I will say, just like with Adrich, Lambo has, missed these deep forehands a couple of times and had these bad returns ever, but it does not seem to bother him at all. Does not seem to bother him.
Like, I have the feeling that Lambo is quite tall as well.
Yes.
So, like, that's also maybe why he doesn't move as much, because he can, which is a bit dangerous, because even if you reach returning, easy. Right. But yeah, he's able. Also, most of the balls that go are kind of final strokes from Hydrauzo anyway, so it would be hard to deal with even if you would get there.
Right.
So, yeah, man, it's spin on that ball.
Right. Incredible.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of serve Hydrauzo is going to do here. Looks like he's lining something up. Oh, just a good old backhand. And some of these volleys, though, are actually incredible with how fast they go and how rhythmic they are,
Exactly.
It's just it's crazy to see how that works.
Yeah, I mean, it looks more like the modern table tennis
right.
in real life as well. And I mean, modern table tennis game for men is changing more, and it's becoming more like the female game. It's faster, closer to the table, and less like what you said, that they play really strong strokes. Younger players don't play that much like that anymore.
Right.
They're not as muscly to the table. They use more of the power of the opponent, and this is a little bit more like that. Like very, very fast.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
He got its second match. It's for Lambo.
And you see there, Lambo did have his deep forehand serve returned, or did return the deep forehand hit from Hydrauzo, and then was able to just set up his game back. So now it is 1-1 on matches as we head into match 3 here, as Lambo brings it right back, and Lambo will serve and hits the edge of the table there. Unfortunate for him. But
yeah, like I said, in Lambo as well, it's very hard to see his frustration. So like he misses that, I don't feel like it affects him too much. It's like it's part of the game.
Yep, he wipes it off. Doesn't matter. He keeps going back to play.
Very good play there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that placement a little bit more to the middle. I mean, hard to deal with in VR for sure.
And volley going on here. Ooh, Lambo just extends it too far. I feel like the hardest part of the game, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, is when someone does have a nice slam shot coming at you. I feel like the return is very hard to line up. You have just one split second to be able to line up your shot, be able to get your paddle set up, and be able to actually return it and not give them another slam right back.
Exactly. The best thing you can do is do a counter attack, but you have to be. If you just lots of times I just block it or lob it, and in this, for some reason, it's too short lots of times, and if it's short, they have the whole table to play on.
Right.
Oh man, he was set up well for that. I see Lambo moving a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's more central on the table now compared to what he was before. Mmm.
Let's see.
Yeah. Ooh, and Hydrazo shooting himself in the foot there. 10-8 for Lambo.
Ooh.
10-9. Let's see if
Yeah.
Lambo can close it out here. Oh.
Lambo seems to be setting the pace of this game.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
See if we can continue doing that, because it's like you relax for a second and it's very hard to dominate like that again.
Right. So now, when someone sets the pace, does that benefit the person who sets the pace, or does that benefit the opposite player? I mean, obviously it depends on who you're playing against. But do some players play?
In general, I mean, if you're setting the pace and it doesn't work,
Yeah.
then you're doing it wrong.
Right.
But yeah, I noticed like Lambo was like, okay, I'm serving, not waiting too long, attacking as fast as I can, and going for the next point. As long as that works, I keep doing that. And then the idea on the other side is that I maybe just take a breather, try to break the rhythm a little bit. If you keep just serving just as fast, you might just be playing into his game. Like,
Right.
it's silly stuff that actually gives you confidence in this game. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Just being able to just keep going without having to stop for a second, it can help a lot. But then if somebody just is like, oh no, just give me a minute, which will be long, but yeah, that can have a really big impact, because you lose, how do you say it, the zone that you're in, you can lose it very fast. Yeah. Like, even though it's 7-7 and Lambo is still dominating, at least he's trying to.
Right.
Also taking more risks and then missing a couple of balls. But I think it's what he needs to do. But yeah, it doesn't mean he's gonna win, of course. Yeah, and that's a variation in serve again.
Right. (10-8) here, match number 2, and Lambo does bring it back here. If Lambo can get one more to make it even at 10. Oh, wait, he does. Ooh.
Nice. You see, like, even though he was dominating all set, he wasn't ahead at the end of the set.
Right. Right.
So sometimes it's just being, focused and bringing back the balls that you can, and just racking up the points.
11-11 here, and this is a huge set for Lambo if he can take this down.
Yeah, but now the pressure is much harder to keep attacking like it did before.
Yep. Because now every point matters more than what it did
Exactly.
before, right?
Ooh,
Lambo's serve here with ball in hand with 13-12.
That was smart play, though, because he was attacking all those balls, and now he wasn't prepared to go for that one.
Right, and Lambo will win match 2 as well.
But yeah, it's very interesting that you can see all these strategy like being applied in VR, very similarly to real life.
Right. I believe that was match 2. That may have been match 3. I think it might be actually 2-1 Lambo here on matches. I think Hydrazo won the first match.
Yeah,
Hydrazo won the first match. I do believe it's 2-1.
2-1 or 1-1?
I believe it's 2-1. I believe it's 2-1 because I believe Hydrazo won the first one 11-9, 11-9. So.
Well, I guess we'll see when it finishes.
We will see. We sure will see. But jumping in this set right here, Hydrazo is up 6-1 here.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like, you come into the new match, he's a little bit out of, but it's not all the way there. And then you miss too many balls, and all of a sudden Hydrazo's gone, because he still picks up all the loose balls, but you're missing a bit more. He can go really fast.
Right. And especially at a high level like this, obviously, I mean, this is in any game too, anything that you play at a high level competitively. Obviously, the less mistakes, the better. But there are some games, some situations, obviously, the more mistakes you make, the worse it's going to be, because people will capitalize on you and bring in a farther lead.
Exactly. Like, if Hydrazo would notice that, like, this is perfect. If he would notice that Lambo is like force it too much, he might not play too hard anymore, and he can just sit back a little bit. He will still put pressure on him. Right. But he can just wait for Lambo to fail. But Lambo is still going for the balls, well, missing a bit more than before. I noticed that with Hydrazo as well. Lots of times he's putting pressure, but not taking a lot of risks. And it puts all the pressure on your side. If you don't attack, like, he's just gonna come up with that spinny top spin, and you're gonna be in trouble.
Right. making them make the move, making them make the mistake, and put it in their court essentially to have them mess up.
Exactly.
So Hydrauzo does take down set 1, and we're jumping to set 2 here. 5-0 early on for Hydrauzo. And go ahead.
Exactly. Exactly. And then when Hydrauzo's ahead, he's way more confident, and he starts playing more fluidly. He can do some returns that usually maybe he would play in a simpler way. Yeah, but that's really good.
Just like that, though. I mean, literally, like we've said, we've pointed out that Lambo, wasn't moving as much from what we saw, whatever. But even with us pointing that out, like Lambo is literally still hitting these ridiculous shots and bringing himself right back into it. It was just 5-0, and now it's 6-4 based off Lambo just calming down and playing his game. It looks like,
Exactly. But like how I'm seeing it, I feel a lot of pressure on.
A lot of
maybe
pressure
because
on
it reminds me on Lambo. Maybe because it reminds me how I played against Hydrauzo as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see just any little mistake is just punished.
Yeah.
Any little mistake at all is punished. Obviously, like we talked about in higher level games, any mistake you make it's punished for sure. But like sometimes you can get away with making some tiny mistakes and maybe the punishment isn't as severe or anything like that. And it's just incredible.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Right. So,
yeah, I noticed he's starting to spin up a lot more in Hydrauzo as well, and Lambo is feeling like. I noticed that he's getting frustrated by not being able to return it.
So Hydrauzo takes that down, actually, and we are going to go into a match 5.
Yep.
We are going to go into a match 5 for the Grand Finals here for the VR Fitness Summit here, brought to you guys by VAL. 11 Table Tennis Grand Finals. We got Lambo versus Hydrauzo. It is 2-2 match point. And we are going into match 5. Best of 3 sets here. Winner takes all.
And we have to see if Lambo can enforce his game.
Let's see what he can do.
Exactly, because you can't stay passive against Hydrauzo either, because he...
Right. I feel like when Lambo does force his game and does mess up and starts to play a little bit more passive, that's where Hydrauzo pushes ahead, from what I've seen.
Exactly. Yeah. But Lambo, when he's in in the zone, is very hard to deal with.
Yes.
He will finish the point as well.
And when he's in the zone, I feel like even if he does make a mistake, whatever, he just wipes it right off. Like it doesn't matter. He's still in the zone. Doesn't phase him one bit. He just keeps right back to it. Just grabs the ball and serves again.
Yeah.
Attacking that deep forehand again there for Hydrauzo.
Man, just thinking.
Yeah.
But the game that I played against Lambo was not that bad either. It was very, very close. But yeah. I mean, not as close as I should have been if I wanted to win. But, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I noticed though in the game that I played against him that nerves were a bigger issue than in the other tournaments as well. It's a bit more like, I really want to get into the Final 4, and it did mess a little bit with me. And the week before I played against him, but he was playing with a loose adapter, and then he switched to playing without adapter. And I know you're a lot faster if you play without the adapter because it's a lot lighter.
Right.
So I was like, oh no, Lambo the same, but faster. Yeah. It's not gonna be easy.
I mean, it's just incredible on these volleys here because you're waiting for someone to miss there, and it's just they're going left and right, and these volleys are just nice and fast and rhythmic, and they're just incredible. But it always looks like Hydrauzo is just consistent, like he's just there. He's just putting it exactly where he needs to put it.
Exactly. And then he has this thing that Lambo is not doing, and there's that slow spinny ball that can give him points out of nowhere almost. So Lambo is probably looking for this fast game as well because Hydrauzo is not able to put as much spin in it.
And as he plays the fast game there, Lambo actually does throw a curveball in there and slows it down. And Lambo brings home set number 1. This is huge. This is huge. One more set for Lambo, and he is your grand final champion.
Let's see if frustration enters Hydrauzo.
Right. Let's see.
Yeah, good spin. Yeah, Lambo seems to be on fire right now.
Needs to be dialed in focus. Yep. Hydrauzo hitting the net there. You can see his frustration. You can see it.
Like now it's just about making the other ones make him miss just 1 or 2 of those attacks.
Right.
Like it might not just be enough to attack himself. But still, Lambo, like as you said, he's not faced too much by missing a point.
Right. Does not look like it at all.
But it does slow down a bit right now.
See that, which might help out how Drazo here actually.
Exactly. Yeah, like his strokes are just a little bit slow. Top of the net. Before he was going with a little bit more intention than it was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens sometimes. I saw this I think it's world #1 right now in female table tennis players. Mimaito, yeah. And I always had a feeling she could be the best if she just had a little bit more confidence and just possible to return. And she's been doing that for the last 2 years, and she's unstoppable. I mean, even at that high level, you can see sometimes. You can see why they're missing that much. Just a little bit of doubts, just holding back a little bit. It just hits the net way more often.
Right. And Alex, this is what we've been looking for right here. Hydrazo does bring down set number 2, so we are going into a match 5, set 3 grand finals for the VR Fitness Summit 11 Table Tennis Finals here, brought to you by VAL. And honestly, I have no idea what's gonna happen here. Like. It's obviously completely even here. If the game is played fast paced, it looks like it's probably going to be up in favor of Lambo. But then it gets slowed down a little bit, and Hydrazo has the advantage here. And it's up 4-3 right now for Hydrazo on his serve.
Good spin. Ooh, that was very good. That was a really fast backhand to return.
Ooh, Hydrazo.
Yeah. Oh, man. Lambo's doing the right stuff though. Like he's activating almost all the balls, passing them. But yeah, there's risk involved always.
Here Lambo's up 2 with his serve.
Ooh.
Right.
In real life, that would have been a point lost, of course.
Right. Lambo has had a little trouble with his serve in these grand finals here. Just like that, he loses both his serve points, bringing it back 7-all. Hydrazo is up 8-7 with his serve here.
Hydrazo's pressure to the middle has been amazing.
Yes. I feel like he has full control of the table. I feel like Lambo has been controlling the pace of the game, but Hydrazo has been controlling the placement.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, it's very hard to deal in VR in real life as well with forehand. I mean,
Lambo's up 10-8. This could be match point here. Could be match point. And Lambo does it.
Misses it.
And Lambo does it. Lambo is your VR Fitness Summit 11 Table Tennis Grand Final champion. Bringing it down in great fashion. 3-2 for matches.